And let's begin by getting you all the latest updates on the latest showdown that's playing out in Bengal. The Trinamool Congress in no mood really to spare leader of opposition Shubhendu Adhikari over his alleged meet with the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta. Now TMC MP Shukhendu Roy and Mahua Moitra will be meeting with President Ramnath Kovind. They're seeking the removal of the current Solicitor General. So that meeting is happening at 12:30 this afternoon. On Friday, TMC MPs Derek O'Brien, Mahua Moitra and Shukhendu, they wrote a letter to Prime Minister Narendra Modi seeking Tushar Mehta's removal, alleging that his meeting is with Shubhendu is an attempt to really influence the Narada scam probe. After the TMC upped the ante, Shubhendu remained evasive over the allegations. Tushar Mehta, on the other hand, claimed that the meeting did not take place because he could not spare any time. Now, after Shubhendu met allegedly with Tushar Mehta, reporters questioned him about that meeting. He refused, however, to answer any of our questions.
सर, आपने तुषार मेहता से भी मुलाकात की है, जो सॉलिसिटर जनरल?
नहीं, मैं इसमें कोई टिप्पणी नहीं करूँ।
सर, आपने तुषार मेहता से भी मुलाकात की है, जो सॉलिसिटर जनरल?
नहीं, मैं इसमें कोई टिप्पणी नहीं करूँ।
Over to news from Maharashtra. A story that we're tracking very, very closely this Monday morning is on former Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh. He's been asked to appear before the Enforcement Directorate in the money laundering case, and he's been evading the summons so far. These summons have been issued in connection with the criminal case that's been registered under the PMLA. Now, former Mumbai Police Commissioner Sachin Vaze had in fact written a letter to the Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray accusing Deshmukh in a bribery and extortion racket. Apologies, there was Parambir Singh who had really written to the Maharashtra Chief Minister. Ahead of appearing before the ED, Deshmukh approached the Supreme Court seeking protection from any coercive action by the central agency in a money laundering case. EDs also summoned Deshmukh's son Rishikesh in the money laundering case that's been registered against him. Now, a massive political row has erupted over an RTI revelation into the Maharashtra government's whopping 155 crore rupees expenditure. This is on publicity campaigns. The BJP is set to corner the Aghadi government in the assembly session over the 155 crore rupees being spent on advertisements. This is between December 2019 and March 2021. The Director General of Information and Public Relations has informed an RTI activist that the Thackeray government has spent over 9 crores every single month on publicity campaigns. BJP's Devendra Fadnavis has slammed the Thackeray government and demanded a proper investigation into this matter.
पैसे नहीं है चिल्लाने वाली महाराष्ट्र की सरकार 155 करोड़ रुपए पब्लिसिटी पर खर्च करती है। पब्लिसिटी किस बात की? खुद की वाहवाह करने की। खुद की पब्लिसिटी करने की बजाय ये यदि पैसे वे अच्छे काम में लगाते, लोगों के हितों में लगाते तो ठीक होता।
Here's a look at also the investigation into the vaccination scam in Mumbai. Now, the police discovered now that 352 employees of a private firm called Atomberg Technologies in Navi Mumbai were also victims of this vaccination scam. Employees of the firm were given the vaccine on 23rd April. They paid 4.24 lakh rupees for the jabs. The staff, however, did not develop any post-vaccine symptoms. They didn't get a certificate either. Now, they were given jabs by the same gang that's been accused in this massive vaccine racket in Mumbai. Now, Navi Mumbai DCP Suresh Mengare has said that the company had come in contact with Manish Tripathi, who's allegedly been arrested by the Mumbai police. He's already been arrested in the previous vaccination scams in the city. The Navi Mumbai police has filed an FIR that takes the total FIRs filed in the case to 11. Police officials have hinted that more FIRs could be filed in the coming days as the investigation progresses.
ये एक्यूज पर्सन्स जो है वो ऑलरेडी कांदिवली में एक ऑफेंस में अरेस्टेड है। उनकी ट्रांसफ़र वारंट लेके उनको ट्रांसफ़र किया जाएगा इस ऑफेंस में, और हम पता करेंगे कि इन्होंने वैक्सीन के जगह क्या लोगों को क्या दिया कौन सा इंजेक्शन दिया, उसमें कोई एक्सपर्ट्स थे या नहीं थे, ये कोई डॉक्टर है या नहीं, ये सारा मटेरियल उन्होंने कहाँ से लाया।
Moving on to other stories, a fresh controversy playing out in Rajasthan after the BJP lashed out to the Gehlot-led Rajasthan government. They've accused them of buying oxygen concentrators at rather inflated prices. The state government has denied all these charges, with the health department clarifying their stance. Dev Ankur gets you the latest updates.
Ashok Gehlot-led Rajasthan government in the dock after allegations of corruption over the acquisition of oxygen concentrators. Opposition BJP has claimed that the state government purchased oxygen concentrators that were faulty at inflated prices and dealt with dubious companies. The charges of corruption came right from the Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan, who said the pandemic profiteering is in vogue in Congress-ruled states. BJP State President Satish Punia accused the CM of profiteering during tragedy.
ये जो कंसंट्रेटर मिला वो भी हमारे को 26-27 तारीख पर मिला, जब तक कि ऑक्सीजन का जो कोरोना का जो पीक था वो उतार पे था, केसेस कम होने लग गए थे, बेड खाली होने लग गए थे। तो ऐसी स्थिति में ये सिर्फ कमीशन खोरी, कांग्रेस का कमीशन खोरी से ही जुड़ा हुआ मामला है।
Gehlot government has denied all allegations, says that it maintained transparency during the purchase. Notification issued by the Rajasthan Health Department stated that global quotations for oxygen concentrators were sought and they were purchased at a lesser rate after negotiations. Ajmer District Collector has clarified that a report will be filed by a 3-member team.
मेरे द्वारा कंपनी प्रतिनिधियों के साथ, एमएलए साहब के प्रतिनिधियों के साथ इसी कक्ष में चर्चा भी की गई और उसके बाद कंपनी प्रतिनिधि से बिंदुवार जवाब भी ले लिया है। जब प्रभारी मंत्री जी आए थे उस समय भी ये मुद्दा उठाया गया था, तो सीएमएचओ साहब ने जांच उस समय 3 सदस्यीय जेएलएन टीम को दी हुई है।
Several union ministers, including Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan, have latched upon it to hit out at the Gehlot government, accusing it of profiteering during pandemic through purchase of oxygen concentrators at exorbitant rates. The Gehlot government, on the other hand, has claimed that complete transparency was maintained in the purchase of oxygen concentrators during the second wave, for which global quotations were also invited. With Nikhil Sharma, Dev Ankur Vadhavan in Jaipur, India Today.
Believe it or not, Rafale politics is back in news again. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi and the BJP trading charges again. This is a day after France's National Financial Prosecutor's Office ordered a judicial probe over alleged corruption charges in the Rafale deal. Rahul Gandhi has picked that up to mock Prime Minister Narendra Modi with an Instagram post. Here's the full story.
The ghost of Rafale deal back to haunt Modi government. After a French court orders judicial probe over the charges of corruption and favoritism in the 59,000 crore rupees deal between France and India. Major showdown has erupted back home between Congress and the BJP. Rahul Gandhi, who spearheaded his party's campaign over alleged corruption in the Rafale deal in the run-up to the 2019 polls, has once again launched a fresh attack on Prime Minister. Rahul has put out an image on his Instagram handle mocking the Prime Minister. He also put out a caption, "Chor ki daadhi," meaning thief's beard.
देश को रुचि है कि 570 करोड़ की चीज 1670 में क्यों खरीदी गई? 126 विमान आने थे, सिर्फ 36 क्यों खरीदे गए? इस तरह के जो बातें करते हैं कि दाढ़ी की फोटो क्यों डाल दी, यह और स्पष्ट बता देता है कि वाकई तिनका है, एक नहीं अनेक तिनके हैं।
BJP is furious and calls Rahul's attack a new low. BJP challenged Rahul to fight 2024 elections on Rafale issue.
Again, the Congress is trying to demand JPC probe and raking up the issue. Is nothing but raking up, flogging a dead horse. It shows that they have no issues to fight with Narendra Modi's government.
Rafale is probably one of the few weapons in Congress' hand to take on the Modi government over corruption issue. The campaign backfired in 2019 after Supreme Court gave a clean chit that helped BJP to return to power for the second time with greater majority.
The investigation launched by French authorities in the Rafale deal has brought storm in India. India's main opposition party, Congress, and several others are now demanding the Joint Parliamentary Committee probe in the deal. While the BJP rubbishing the charges, challenging the Congress to battle the next general elections on this issue, Congress continue to escalate attack on the government. With this report in New Delhi with Sanjay Kumar, I'm Ashutosh Mishra for India Today.
Let's focus on the COVID crisis. Numbers going down, particularly in the state of Karnataka, and that's why the government has decided to further ease the COVID-related restrictions. Now, as per the new guidelines, malls and restaurants are allowed to open. Public transport is also being allowed to operate up to its seating capacity. Our next report tells you all that you need to know about the latest unlock process.
Positivity rate plunges in Karnataka. Sharp decline in COVID-19 cases and steady upward curve in recovery rate. BSY government announces further lockdown relaxations in the state from Monday. As per the new guidelines, shops, restaurants, malls and private offices are allowed to operate as per COVID protocols.
We are cleaning the mall and making sure that we are cleaning railing, glass, everything we are doing. Only vaccinated people we have allowed inside the mall, means who are all the employees, salesmen, security, housekeeping, whoever it is.
All it is sanitized good, and we have kept mask also for customer. Without mask we'll be not allowing customers also, and we have kept a proper sanitization in the store.
We are cleaning the entire store, and even we have done with the sanitizations as well, and we are arranging with our new stocks. So, and we are also following all the social distancing COVID protocols, and even our team is also 100% vaccinated.
While swimming pools, sports complexes and stadiums will be opened only for training purposes. Public transport allowed with full seating capacity. Marriages and family functions are permitted with not more than 100 people. Cremation to be allowed with maximum of 20 people. No gatherings at religious places, and only prayers can be offered. Theatres, cinema halls and pubs will remain closed. All social, political and religious activities are prohibited. Educational institutions and colleges to also remain closed until further orders. Meanwhile, night curfew will continue from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. and the latest relaxations and restrictions will be in place for the next 15 days. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, pandemic as well as consecutive lockdowns have left farmers across the country in grave apathy. Here's the story of a farmer from Tamil Nadu called Nagaraj, who was forced to transform his child's bicycle to feed his family.
Our farmers have borne the maximum brunt of many lockdowns. Meet 37-year-old Nagaraj from Tamil Nadu's Tirutani, who was down to his last penny. He used to cultivate samangi flower, which is used in garlands and for temple offerings. But lockdown shut places of worship and curbs were imposed on weddings, leaving Nagaraj jobless. But as they say, necessity is the mother of invention. Instead of giving up, Nagaraj improvised. He converted his son's bicycle into a plow.
எங்கள் பையன் ஸ்கூலில் அது கூட கொடுத்த சைக்கிள் எடுத்து ரெடி பண்ணி நான் ஓட்டினு இருக்கேன் ஐயா. இதனால் எனக்கு நல்லா இது என்ன வழி இல்லை, சாப்பாடு கூட இல்லை, யாரும் உதவி பண்ண மாட்டாங்க அப்படின்ற பட்சத்தில் நான் செய்து ரெடி பண்ணி போனேன்.
Moved by Nagaraj's determination, his family also decided to help him in the field. Nagaraj's 11-year-old son, Dhananjayan, instead of sulking that his beloved cycle was taken away, offered to help his father in the field.
நான் அப்பா பின்னாடி பிடிச்சிப்பேன், அப்பா வெளிப்பாரு, அதை நான் கூட தள்ளுவேன், அவ்வளோதான். நான் அப்பாவுக்கு சாப்பாடு எடுத்து தருவேன், அப்போ ஓட்டுவேன் கொஞ்ச நேரம். ஸ்கூல் க்ளோஸ் இல்லைங்க, ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுவேன் அப்பாவுக்கு.
Nagraj's brother Alex explained how growing Samangi is a tough task, as you can't expect any return from the first 6 months, and they have already lost 2 seasons due to lockdown.
அதனால் எங்களால் சமாளிக்க முடியல. அதனால தான் நாங்கள் ஒரு சின்ன இன்விடேஷனாக அந்த சைக்கிள் ரெடி பண்ணி நானும் எங்கள் அண்ணன் எங்கள் அப்பாவெல்லாம் வந்து இந்த பயிரில் வந்து செலவு பண்ணுறோம். இந்த லாக்டவுன் பீரியடில் வந்து நாங்கள் ரொம்ப ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்பட்டு இந்த பூ வந்து விற்கவே முடியல எங்களால்.
As the pandemic shows no signs of abating, Nagraj could be a shining example for others struggling to make both ends meet on how to battle adversity and not lose hope.
They say necessity is the mother of all invention, but here the issue is survivability. And that's the reason this father has converted a government-issued cycle to his son into this contraption and ploughing his field because he wants to survive and make sure that his family is fed. With video journalist Divyan, Pramod Madhav for India Today.
Meanwhile, the tussle for water between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka is back in the news. Once again, it's over the construction of a reservoir in Mekedatu. Now, while Yediyurappa assured the project will benefit both states, Stalin strongly opposed the plan, calling for it to be scrapped. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister has written to his Karnataka counterpart and said that this project will impact water quota due to Tamil Nadu and that the project will affect the interests of Tamil Nadu farmers. B.S. Yediyurappa had earlier written to Stalin asking him not to oppose this proposal. He said that the project is bound to benefit both states and that it will not affect negatively Tamil Nadu farmers, adding that Karnataka will take only its share of water. The 9,000 crore rupees Mekedatu project remains a long-standing point of friction between the two states. A lot of dramatic political developments over the weekend in Uttarakhand, and now you have a new Chief Minister. Pushkar Singh Dhami has taken oath as the 11th Chief Minister of Uttarakhand with 11 other cabinet ministers, and this includes the 3 dissenters who stormed BJP's legislative meet. Here are the latest updates.
मैं पुष्कर सिंह धामी ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं.
Uttarakhand gets its 3rd Chief Minister in 4 months. Amid hectic parleys, rising dissent and charges of political instability,
उत्तराखंड राज्य के मुख्यमंत्री के रूप में
Pushkar Dhami took oath as the 11th Chief Minister of Uttarakhand. He was sworn in with 11 cabinet ministers from the previous government on Sunday evening at the Raj Bhavan.
बहुत आजीविका छोटे से दुकानदारी से अपनी आजीविका चलाने के कारण जिनकी आजीविका का पूरी निर्भरता केवल और केवल ये पर्यटकों से और आने वाले लोगों से या श्रद्धालुओं से होती थी. हमारा प्रयास होगा कि उसको रास्ते पर लाएं और नौजवानों के जो पीछे हमारे जितने भी हमारे बैकलॉग हैं वो बैकलॉग हम भरेंगे.
The youngest CM of the state has a lot on his plate. Several challenges as high as the Himalayan peaks in the state. Dhami will face state assembly polls in less than a year, loaded with the Herculean task of appeasing the dissenters who are allegedly miffed over his elevation. He will also have to clean party's image after changing 3 CMs in just 4 months amidst opposition's charges of political instability.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने उत्तराखंड के अंदर राजनीतिक अस्थिरता फैलाने का काम किया, तो इसीलिए नए मुख्यमंत्री के बनने पर जो है भाजपा में जो है वो गुटबंदी उभर करके सामने आ रही है.
BJP leadership has quashed claims of dissent in the party.
पुष्कर सिंह धामी एक युवा तेज तर्रार शिक्षित नौजवान है. पार्टी ने उनको बागडोर सौंपी है, तो निश्चित रूप से कोई अच्छा परिवर्तन दिखाई देगा।
दूसरे विधायकों के बारे में मैं कुछ नहीं कह सकता हूं, लेकिन जहां तक मेरी जानकारी है शायद ही कोई विधायक इस बात को लेकर के नाराज हो। हमारी एक अनुशासित पार्टी है और सब लोग एक अनुशासन के अंदर काम करते हैं। मुझे नहीं लगता है कि किसी को किसी तरह की कोई दिक्कत पुष्कर सिंह धामी जी से हो।
The dissenters also took oath with the new CM, quashing rumors of division that were taking rounds before his oath-taking ceremony.
There were so many people in the party, those were very angry on this decision of Pushkar Singh Dhami as new Chief Minister. But they also took the oath with Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami. But will they support Pushkar Singh Dhami till 2022? There is a question mark. With camera person Pravesh Rana, Dilip Singh Rathod in Dehradun for India Today.